Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special episode with us as we are having a moment of transparency. Take a moment, like to share the screen. We would love for as many people to come in and to be present to this moment. And this is an auspicious moment, actually. This is not something that is belaboring. Eh, it's humbling, I'll say that, but it's not something that is taking us aback. Not a setback, it's a setup. And so I just want to take a moment to really come to you and just to share with you. I realize something. Let's take a moment. Let's get everybody in the room. Share wherever you are. Share the stream from wherever you are. Come in. Just let us know who's in the room. Let us know who's in the building. Let us know who's in the building. We'd love to know who's in the building. And, thank you for joining us today. Let me introduce us, first and foremost. I am Samuel L. Crumby Jr., a.k.a. Samion. And we'll talk about that dichotomy in a moment. And this is my beautiful wife.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shaman Tamika.
Thank you for everyone coming in the room. Come on in, like the stream when you come in, please. Appreciate it. Let us know where you're tapping in from, where you're tuning in from. This is a transparent moment. This is about my journey. Our journey. Specifically my journey. This has been an interesting time, if I say the least. As many of you have known me as Samuel, which is my birth name, and others of you know Samion. And there's been a internal battle of the two entities, the two energies. Let's call them that, the two energies. And these energies are probably something that you have been dealing with yourself, with your own mindset. Trying to let go of things that no longer serve you while at the same time transitioning into the space that sets you up for the success that's available for you right now, the blessings, the miracles, the growth, the evolution of who you are becoming. That's what I've been dealing with for a number of years. And it's interesting because it really came to a head the last 2 years, year and a half. He said, what do you mean it came to a head? Well, 2021, I had an amazing financial year. An amazing financial year. Being a blessing to so many people. Really being able to support my family in the way that I desire to support, have some excess in the bank account. Being really able to enjoy life. But in 2022, I had a reality check. Now, keep in mind, when I say everything was doing well, I had multiple income coming in from multiple streams. Income coming in from real estate, from business consulting, and from finances, mortgage, and business financing, which are all three different entities that I founded. All had a very, very, very successful year. But 2022, we moved into that space and we moved in strong. We knew that we were going to really take it to the next level and was very excited about doing so. And I had about 5-6 deals set up in the month of January, but it netted me around $50,000 to $100,000 in that month. Grateful for that. However, none of it came through. It all fell apart. And what was interesting about it all falling apart, it wasn't because of anything on my behalf or anything that I did, any malfeasance on my part to create that. And it wasn't on any malfeasance on the part of my clients that created that. Every situation was something that was unavoidable, unseen, that was beyond the need or the ability to cast fault or blame on anyone or anything. It was mind-blowing, mind-boggling. And that trend continued for that same year. So much so that ran through my savings. I said, man, let me be proactive. Maybe I need to go back and get a job in corporate America, use my skill set to go get 6 figures and, just until I can balance this thing out, right? And I'm telling you this because I'm not a victim. I'm not telling you this for you to feel sorry or to feel pity for me. I'm telling you this in transparency. And I'm gonna set this up why. This is the why I'm telling you this. Every morning I come on here at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I provide the morning manifestation sessions and inspire you to inspire, motivate, and heal lives and relationships across the globe. Launch the One Transformation Center. That's the mission of it, right? We're celebrating humanity. We're celebrating life. Some amazing things that are happening behind the scenes that are just setting it up and just like, man, this is going to be amazing. And the impact this is going to have, not just locally, but globally, it's just going to be off the charts. And I find myself asking the question, am I being and doing a disservice to those who are paying attention? Am I creating this idea that everything is perfect on my end? That as this thing metastasizes and it becomes matured and it really shows up and becomes more visible to you, once you see the spiritual center in all of its glory, right? You begin to see the manifestation in all its glory. I have a book coming out called what's the book called? Unlocking Your Inner Potential for Boundless Success. Subtitle, The Power of Magnanimous Manifestation. These are the keys that I've been living to get my life to the next level. To be able to see the realization and the manifestation that is coming down the pipeline as we speak, right? To help me break through these times of trouble. These spaces that felt like it was full of lack and disappointment and heartbreak. And I said, man, I'll be doing a disservice because everything we look around, you see prosperity preachers out there talking about the prosperity to the living, but you don't know what they've been through in order to get there, which doesn't give you permission to come through what you're going through, which creates this false sense of hope. Like if I just snap my fingers, if I do this magical potion, then all of a sudden my life will be better. But the reality, it requires work and a lot of intensive work. It requires a true transformation from who you are being to who you are to become. It requires letting go of some people, places, and things. It requires to letting go of some limited ideologies and belief systems that no longer serve you. And it's hard. It's difficult. And so, why wouldn't I show you that too? Why would I just allow you to believe that, oh, everything is hunky-dory? Look where I am. I've been here. I'm just now showing it to you. No. That's not the truth. Just like when we look on TV and we see the gentlemen who are out there, or the people, the entertainers and the basketball players, we don't necessarily know their struggle. We just see what the performance that brings about the accolades, that brings about the materialism, that brings about the wealth that we admire. We don't know about the struggle until after the fact. But now we're caught on to what the rewards are, or what the results are, that we don't even understand the journey or the importance of the journey and what the journey yields and how the journey provides the opportunity for you to be able to secure the bag. And I'm not just talking about the literal bag cash. I'm talking about the figurative bag, the life that you desire, the peace, the abundance, the prosperity, in whatever capacity that looks like for you. The joy, the happiness, the unconditional love, the limitless expression. I'm referencing all of that. Like, even to the fact, like, you see this? This is a part of the transformation. If you look at pretty much every picture that you see of me on the internet for the last many years, I've kept my hair short. But yet I've grown it back out. It's part of the journey. You're like, when did he grow his hair out? Are those implants? Did he get extensions in his hair or something? Like, what? What's going on? What's happening here? Because I really haven't kept you in the fold. I've been in hermit mode. I've been doing the work. And I want to give you permission to do the work yourself. So let me step back for a moment, now that I've set this conversation up appropriately. Let me take you back to the journey. Had a great financial year. Then 2022, the bottom fell out. I was depressed. But I knew the bottom fell out for a reason. I heard the callings, I heard the clarion call. It was in my dream what was happening, that I was supposed to be present for this moment. That the God of my being was just simply saying, I'm just trying to show you what I have for you if you would just surrender. But I needed a little bit more security. Remember I said the dichotomy between Samuel and Samion? Samuel's that one that makes smart, rational decisions, that are very secure. He second guesses and overthinks. He moves with deliberative action instead of taking control, taking charge, moving forward. Has a strategic plan, action-oriented. Action-oriented is Samion. He's the one that gets it done. He's the one that's all about the mission. He ain't gonna ask no questions. There's no second guessing. It's get it done, baby. And so I was in that space of conflict, of who to be. And in that space, I found myself being without any money. Showing up every day with a smile on my face. Not knowing how I'm gonna take care of my family. Putting out hundreds of resumes. Fielding many interviews. Politely getting turned down. Being told that I'm overqualified. When all I really want to do is just provide for my family. So it leads me into a space that my lease is up in October last year. And this lease being up, we initially moved into this house with the anticipation of building our house. Did all the work to get my credit where it needed to be. And keep in mind, I'm a real estate agent. I've been in real estate since 2006. And there's not too many out there that are better than me. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. There's not too many out there who understand this process of real estate and know how to create solutions in every step of the way. That makes it an easy process for you where you don't have to do nothing but sit back and just let me do the work for you. I understand the mortgage. And I also became a mortgage broker as well. I understand the mortgage and the real estate side of things. When I got my mortgage license, here I am working with, I had built relationships with divorce attorneys. When their clients had to refinance and had to buy out the houses when they lived in order to put the house in their name, they would call me and I would do the work, create the magic tricks that needed to happen in order for their clients to get the houses and for that process to move forward. All the while, supporting people in the space where they had a sense of uncertainty, where they didn't really believe in the opportunity to behold their wealth, to increase their personal wealth, to purchase a house, to get a loan. I had to shore them up and to believe for them until they believe for themselves, to get them across the finish line. Now, that was something that was difficult for me to do for myself and my family. I've given so much of me. My first marriage, the most common gripe that was there was I gave so much, but didn't get the same amount in return. I would coach people and counsel families as a spiritual leader, as a life and relationship coach, to repair their lives. And my ex-wife used to say, she said to me one time, she said, how can you go out here and help everybody else with their relationship, but then yours is such in disarray? Well, you know, it takes two to party, man. It takes two to tangle. And I realized that if you're not equally yoked, if you're not in the same place, you're going to prevent yourself from moving forward. Let's talk about that for a minute. In that state of chaos that I was in that state of chaos, I created a business that by conservative amounts from outsiders, from industry, financial industry leaders, they told me that it would be a $5 billion company in 5 years once I activated it. I'm not exaggerating. I'll show it to you. The plan is still valuable today. Here's the reason why we're going to relaunch it. But I had guarantees from 3 different individuals, investors, that they were going to give $10 and $20 million towards the company. I asked them, I said, well, you know, I have people lined up ready to go. I had 50 employees lined up ready to go, ready to pull the trigger. Excited. They loved the philosophy. They loved the culture that we were creating. And they asked me, I asked them, I said, when will we be in receipt of the money, and can we go ahead and start, and do I need to wait a little longer to pull the trigger to go ahead and activate these 50 employees, or is the money going to be deposited? So yeah, we're going to take care of you. Go ahead and activate them. Now, that wasn't the wisest decision. And I activated them. This was my Samion self. I activated them without having the resources. And because of that, couldn't make payroll. Why? Because those investors who made promises and pledges reneged. And it broke me. It broke my spirit. It brought me to a space where I felt like I needed to, where I just curled up into a ball, into a fetal position. Because there's 50 families that were depending on me to take care of their financial resources, to extend their personal valuations, to extend their sense of security. But yet, I felt like I failed them. I didn't give up. I looked for more opportunities and more investors, but I was also dealing with a broken marriage at the same time. I was also dealing with a partner who didn't really believe in me. She believed in the opportunity. She believed in the possibilities, but she didn't really believe in authentically who I was. Without the potential, just the truth of who I was. It wasn't enough for her. Now, you see Tamika's nodding her head. The reason she can nod her head is because she was there the whole time. She's been my friend for over 20 years. She understood what was happening. She understood. She actually told me not to marry her, but hey, that's another story. And so after that, I just prayed that God help me, because that was a revolving door marriage and I needed to get out. And the way we agreed that I would leave, that we would part ways on, I believe it was June 23rd. And it was also the same day that I had to go to court for child support. And when I went to court, I never came back. They incarcerated me, and I was incarcerated for 5 months. That's another story within itself. But I'm grateful for that moment, because that was the moment that broke me free. That was my moment. That was my Declaration of Independence moment. That was my Emancipation Proclamation moment. You know, Harriet Tubman, when it's a quote that's attributed to her, when they asked her, how many slaves did you free? How many enslaved people did you free? She said, I would have freed more if they knew that they were enslaved. I knew that I was enslaved. And my freedom came by way of incarceration. I was able to be who I truly am inside there, to men who were able to receive and who were receptive to the messages, to the inspiration, the motivation that was placed within me by the Creator. So much so that these gentlemen who were supposed to go to prison were walking out the front door. They had become renewed. They had become transformed. They did everything that was asked of them. I told them, I said, the reason that you're incarcerated is not because of a crime that you may have created. That's what brought you here. But what keeps you here is the enslavement that is happening inside of you. Meaning that whatever's going on inside of you that's keeping you locked up, that's keeping you bound, is what's keeping you in prison. But once you let that thing go, once you free yourself from that space, you'll be set free. So they started doing the work. I tasked them with creating a life plan for themselves. They did it and began to take it with them and began to utilize it while they were still inside. So once they exited, they already had the discipline to maintain that plan, that schedule that they created, knowing what they were going to do for themselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, career-wise, physically. I think I said physically, but energetically as well. So now they had a plan to keep it going. They had a plan, because I gave them this talk. This talk was entitled, Are You an Asset or a Liability? And how does the world see you? Are you an asset or a liability, and how does the world see you? And they began to make adjustments based upon that. And they began to leave as assets. I can reach out to one of those individuals today and they will say, man, thank you, bro. I got my life planned. My life is so amazing. I appreciate you so much because you didn't have to show up that way for me. But even after they were free, I was still there. It was hard. I had to ask God, like, what's going on, man? I've done everything you asked me to do. What's happening? And then I was asked to study Job. And I had studied Job many a times prior to that. But this particular time, I just got something different. This particular time, I realized that Job did something that he never took responsibility for. And what he did was he harbored his blessings. And what I mean by harboring his blessings, I'm not talking about he didn't share them with other people. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about he harbored the source. Let's put it in plain talk, Samuel. Let's put it in plain talk. He knew the plug, and he wasn't trying to tell you who the plug was because he wanted you to come to him instead of going to the plug. Did you catch it? Now, that's for all my millennials and below and younger, or for all my street cats. Now listen. So what happened with Job in that space was everything was taken away from him because people would come to him as if he was the plug, as if he was the source. But no. His well had to dry up for him to get an understanding, for them to get the understanding. But it wasn't until the shepherd boy, who no longer had sheep to flock, he no longer had a flock of sheep to watch or to shepherd, saw them acting up, because everybody believes, we've been taught for so long that that Job never doubted God. It's not the way the Bible interprets it. That's not the interpretation of the Bible. But it explicitly says, he questioned God and said, why have you forsaken me? Why have I forsaken me? What he didn't do, he didn't curse God, but he questioned. So for those of you out there who feel like you can't ask a question to the Creator when you're going through something, don't believe that. You can. Please do, because that's how you get an understanding. Not asking the questions like you sitting in class and get a new subject matter being taught, and you know you got a quiz coming up on it based upon the notes that you take, but you don't understand the first thing that's happening. So now you're trying to figure out what's going on. And you're sitting there and not asking any questions to get an understanding of what to be broken down in the way that you understand it, so that you can move to get a mastery of it. And you fail the test. And better yet, guess what? It was an open book test. So you're just sitting there looking, and I can hear the words of Fred Sanford, "You big dummy." But the reality is, it's important for us to ask questions. Why? Because this is a relationship that we have here. And in a relationship, it requires communication. Communication is both listening and speaking. But we do have 2 ears more than we have 1 mouth. We have 1 mouth, 2 ears, so we need to listen twice as much as we speak. So in this space, Shepherd said, did you once ask the question? Remember, communication. Did you once ask the question, what did I do? And Job said, no, I never thought to ask that question. He encouraged them to do so. And when he asked the question, the revelation was made to him. The revelation was made to him. Now, and when he got the understanding, everything was restored to him. Sevenfold? Or was it tenfold? Tenfold. Now, question is, what did he get the understanding about? He got the understanding that he wasn't a plug and that it was important for him to share who the plug was so that people can have direct access to the plug. And so they were going to be looking to him as an idol, but they would come directly to the source, to the Father, to receive their blessings, to have their relationship. Many of us still need to get an understanding in that space because we like to go have these middlemen in place, or we like to be the middleman. And we're reaping the bounty of being the middleman too. We are. But I warn you, while you think that you're reaping something, I want you to look at the totality of look at the big picture. And I want you to see how many people are hurt, church hurt, won't even give you the time of day simply because of their perception of you. I remember there's a passage that do not touch one hair on the head of my child. Do not do no harm. Not realizing that because you think you need to be the middleman, you're creating harm. I beg of you, I beseech of you to look and study Job and see what happened when he made himself the middleman. And ask yourself, is that the experience that you desire for your own self? Because he was wealthy. He was looked up to, he was held in high regard. But you say, now, Simeon, where you going with this thing now? Because you was talking about over here where you had a great year, and then you had a year that was not so great, and then you went back into your past marriage, and then the business that you had there, and the things that happened there, and then you went to jail, and so on and so forth. So let me pick up there. When I asked the question, what did I do? I got an understanding. And once I got that understanding, I immediately became into a space of humility. And asked for forgiveness. And once I did that, I had been waiting for an attorney for 2.5 months. I was supposed to have been there after week 1. That same day, I got a call. Crumby, your attorney's here. I said, my attorney's here? Oh, it was good for me just to get out of that, I wouldn't even call it sales, open bay, really. 100 men, 70 to 100 men at any given time. Let me get a change of pace. Let me get a break from being around all this testosterone, all these folks doing all kind of stuff. So I go there, and she tells me, "Oh, I apologize. It took me so long to get to you. This, that, and the other. Run down on my case." Said, "Oh, we're gonna get this taken care of for you, Mr. Crumby. Matter of fact, I see you're supposed to go to work release. You're not gonna have to go to work release. We're gonna get you out of here. Try to get you on a court docket as soon as possible. I'll follow up." This was on a Sunday. Like, the attorney came to see me on a Sunday? Wow. So, no, it wasn't a Sunday. It was a Friday. That next week, I received a letter. "Crumby, your mail." I'm like, I never get mail. I'm like, "Crumby got mail? What?" Everybody looked around, so, "Crumby, you got some mail?" I never get mail. I was in the journey by myself. It was for my attorney. Told me I had a court date the following Monday. Came back and saw me. Made sure I received the mail. I told her I did. Said, "You got a court date the following Monday. We're gonna get you out of here." You're not gonna have to go to work release. I said, okay. Well, that was Wednesday. Thursday came, Friday came. Now I'm in this space like, man, I need a break, man. I need to change of place, man. This is too much. This is too much. I need something to change, like ASAP. Sunday came. I get another call. Crumby, come down into the speaker phone where that speaker box where they're calling, talking to me from their tower. You want to go to work release? I had a moment of pondering. It's like, I can wait till the attorney tomorrow, or I can go to work release today. I said, God, I pray that I need some change now. I need a different environment now. Something got to give now. I said, yes, sir. I go to work release. I said, let's go. Hurry up. Pack it up. I go up to my rack, pack up everything. I didn't have much. There's some documents and papers I've been writing, so on and so forth, some drawings that were made. Didn't have much. I may have some soaps and things of that nature. I gave them away because I couldn't really take them with me until over there. And as I was leaving out, everybody was telling me congratulations. And they said, Crummy, hurry up or you staying behind. I said, well, boys, I love you, man. I got to get out of here, man. And as I'm leaving this pod, as I stated before, of 70 to 100 men, I received a standing ovation. I've never seen that. Many of the men that left prior to me, no standing ovation. But it was just appreciation for how I've shown up for them. It moves me. It reminded me of the work that I've been called to be in this world. So I leave up, go to work release, different environment, still open bay, bunk beds, all that good stuff. I was cool. I'm used to it, but I got a locker this time. Put stuff into a locker. You know, I can get some personal items and things of that nature. I called the young lady who was now my ex-wife and asked her to bring some items up there for me so I can go look for a job interview and things of that nature. And she begins to tell me about how she had an affair on me while I was incarcerated and was apologizing profusely. And all I could tell her was, I hold you harmless. I hold you harmless. And going about my business. And next thing I know, she's bringing my stuff up there, and she brings all my stuff. Two suitcases up there, as if I'm going on a trip somewhere. So much stuff that the jail looked at me and said, man, well, what you gonna do with this? You can't take this with you. And they felt some pity for me and stored it away in a locked room, storage room. They told me, they said, Crummy, you have 2 weeks to find a job, or else you're going back to general population. Well, I did my life plan, remember? I already had it planned out what I was going to do. I said, I'm going to be suited and booted, tailor fitted. I said, how we going to get there? We're going to, because I'm a strategist now. Well, we're going to go get a job at a clothing store, Men's Warehouse, somewhere like that, Joseph A. Bank, something. We're going to get a job there, we'll work there, and we'll use what we make on our money, we'll get a discount on our clothing, and we'll buy a new outfit and be suited and booted, tailor fitted. I lost the weight. I was in there working out. I was about 230, 235 when I went in there. Came out 205, lean, mean. Woo! I was bad, cut up. Nice. And I go and actually, so it's Monday, is the first day, because all that was Sunday, so Monday is the first day. But I couldn't go find a job that day. And everywhere you went, you had to let them know where you were going. You had to get permission to go there, or else you couldn't go. And if you didn't have a reason to be out and about, you weren't going to be out and about. You're going to be staying inside. Food was a little better, though. So that was a good thing. But didn't nobody want to stay inside? No. I mean, you can get your hair cut. They had clippers and everything in there. So, it was a different experience. Probably more like boot camp. It was like boot camp for me, really. For those who don't know, I was former Navy. And so here we are. I have court that Monday morning, and they tell me on Sunday night, you're not going to provide you transportation to get to court now. You got to get there on your own. We'll give you some tickets for the bus. But you got to get there on your own. So, okay, no problem. This is in Cobb County, by the way. And so I get there. I go through court to the court. And to their surprise, I walk through the front door in a suit. Now, they were expecting me to come back through the back door in chains and shackles, dressed in blues. It said Cobb County inmate. But that wasn't the plan that God had for my life. That wasn't the victory that God wanted for me in that moment. I went into the court and they said it. Mr. Krim, what are you doing coming through the front door? We expected you to be in the back. All I could think to myself was, but God. My attorney, all she could do was smile. Well, she didn't know either. She expected me to be in the back too, but we met right before. I said I went to work release. I said I had to. I needed to. She understood. She said, okay, no problem. It was just a plan from there. And she adjusted it from there. And so I was in work release I was in general population for 2.5 months, and I was in work release for 2.5 months. I worked my butt off. I got a job at Joseph A. Bank, the second place I went. I went to the first one. I went to Men's Warehouse, didn't like the energy, didn't like the attitudes. I went to the Joseph A. Bank over by Kennesaw, by Town Center Mall in Kennesaw. He wanted to hire me, but he didn't have the approval to do so yet. He was waiting on approval to do so. He had my interview. He had my resume. I gave it to him. I sent it to him, as a matter of fact. Then I went to the one over at Acres Mill over in Smyrna, out of Galleria Mall. Just walked in. He said, "Where you been? I've been looking for you. I've been waiting for you." I hadn't called this man. I hadn't submitted a resume. I'm like, how you know I was coming? He hired me on the spot. We talked. We built a friendship. He understood my situation. He knew that I was incarcerated still. He knew why I was incarcerated. He knew that he was going to have a great worker on his hand too. And indeed, I came in there. He bet the back for me. He made sure that I stayed out as much as I could. He made sure that I was on the schedule every single day. Even though I may not have been working, I wasn't physically working, but I was on that schedule so that I didn't have to be on the inside. And in reward, I took his business from a $900,000 business to a $1.2 million business. And I did it in 3 months. I brought him $300,000 worth of business in 3 months by myself. By myself. I'm not saying that to gloat by any measure. I'm just letting you know the power that exists within me. The brilliance, the genius that's within me. I don't have a problem making money. I don't have a problem making money at all. I'm not a lazy person. I love to work. Which brings me back to 2022. When my sky felt like it was falling. I was barely, I went through all through my savings. I had to borrow money. Came time to renew my lease. And my landlord decided he didn't want to do it. But I put upon my heart that if he would allow me just to pay 3 months in advance, would allow us to continue to be here. He said yes. So I was blessed with favor to get that 3 months, which brought me to December. In December, I didn't necessarily know what to do with that from that space. It really created a rock in a hard place, some troubled waters in our marriage. Because I remember in the past that I was being circumvented because of that marriage. Because as soon as I let that marriage go, my life took off. My finances took off. So I had to ask that question. Is it happening here again? But the entire time I also knew that there was something that was calling me to be more than what I was being in that moment. It was calling me to be the person that I am today. It was calling me to be this person of inspiration, motivation, and healing. It was calling me to be this transformational leader. That was calling me to be in accordance with God's will and God's plan for my life. I was accepting of it while having one foot in, still trying to hold on to the way I had things before, to what I could create, to what I could do. Even though it wasn't working, even though it was like you're still contributing, you're still creating this space of insanity, as Einstein likes to say. He said, when you continue to do the same things and expect a different result, it is the definition of insanity. But I love, rest in power to my little brother. And my biological brother, he just transitioned last Thursday. Jacob Robinson, you know I love you, man. I was talking to one of his friends today, and he shared this token that Jacob shared with him, and that they share with each other on occasion. And he said, people always say that I'm insane or acting insane. He would say, thank you. And they would say, why are you thanking me? I said, think about what you said. Insane. That means I'm in my right mind. I'm sane. So why would I want to be out of sane? He said, you would want to be insane. Insanity. You want to be sanity. And I thought about it, what about that? Why would I want to be out of my, why would I want to be out of sanity? I want to be insanity. Think about the words that have been created and how they've been used to manipulate us, to move us according to certain ways. Here's the one my wife loves to say. And I attribute it to her, but I know there's many out there who are awakened people who say this as well, but I give her the credit because she says I don't give her credit enough, so I give her the credit for this, okay? She says, instead of saying understand, she'll say understand or overstand. Because why must we be beneath something when the reality is that we overstand it, we have a great understanding of it, instead of having a lack of understanding. Meaning understanding means you don't have a full understanding of it. We understand it means we understand it, we are able to internalize it. But we've been so used to these words that have been operating in a low vibrational space that we're in such conflict. So people, I beseech you, please pay attention to the words that we say to ourselves, because words have power. more than we can even begin to imagine. They have power. So, I would say it's a couple of months ago now that I fully surrendered. Now, I said December, we came and we had to work it out and renewed. He actually said, okay, we'll do another 3 months, but then he changed his mind and said, we'll just go ahead and do a 12-month lease. That felt good to me because it gave me a sense of security. I'm like, oh, it was easier to come up with that instead of come up with that. So let me just talk about that for a moment. This again goes to our mindsets. I am grateful that we have been able to stand in the space of abundance and security, that our overhead, not just, let me take it back, that our roof, our domain, our refuge has been the equivalent of what's the average person around the average person in the state of Georgia makes per year. We've been blessed enough to be able to stand in that space. And I'm grateful for it. Why you say I'm grateful? Because like, that's a lot of money, man. I mean, the average person makes about $50,000, $60,000. You've been paying $50,000, $60,000 in rent a year? That's a lot of money to be paying. You know, it is. Or is it? Because here's the thing we have to think about our mentality. Remember, it's the mindset again. We got to let go of those limited beliefs. Here's another way to look at it. I'm going to give you an option. You can look at it from a space of it being a lot and being limited, meaning that there's only a certain amount of money that you make and you don't want to spend that much towards that. Spend is the word I say, spend. Or you can look at it as an investment. That you have the ability to invest that amount into it and receive the returns on your investment in quality of life. Which in turn which one of those two options creates the space for you to be able to create abundance? I'll wait. Is it the limited mindset, the hoarding, the thinking that there's not enough, or the investment the spending mindset, or the investment mindset? It says, I'm investing into this and I know that I'm going to get a good return on my investment, even though it may not be financial return on my investment, but it's peace of mind, quality of life, so on and so forth. Convenience. And so in that space, we had all those things. And by understanding, now we make room to receive more. But you may say, but why was your well drying up if you had that mindset? My well was drying up because I was out of position. I was out of position. I was trying to hold on to a mindset, a way of being that no longer served, that was no longer in alignment where the Creator wanted me at. Now, you say, how do you know that? Here's where we get even more transparent. Because we have been able to be in this house since January without a payment, without an exchange of goods, say it that way, without an exchange of goods between us and him. We have received a significant amount of grace when it comes to that. It came to that. until April the 4th when we went to court. And we had to show up for dispossessory hearing. Even in that space, in full transparency and authenticity, it was remote. So we saw each other on the computer screen. And when his face appeared on the computer screen, I could just see, man, I really don't want to be here. Why do we have to be here? And when I saw his face, I saw his energy, I felt his energy, I immediately went into prayer. Because I didn't want him to have that expression or that feeling. So I just pray that God, you would bless him to receive an abundance that is so amazing that he doesn't feel any pain or hurt. That you bring him a peace that surpasses all understanding. And that you show up for us in a way that we can make it great with him. And that we can continue to be seen for him to continue to have favor in his eyes. So as we continue, we went to the mediator and talked with the mediator and came to a consensus, even to the point of saying how much we have to pay in the past. And when I first heard the number, I know the numbers, but I first heard the number, I was taken aback a bit. Because it seemed like a big number. When you hear the number, it may seem like a big number to you too. But I'm just going to tell you, just breathe. Just breathe. So the number was $15,000. $15,000. We owe him. I said, okay. He said, do you have any pushback? Do you have any complaints? Do you find issue with that number? I said, not at all. We understand it. And he said, how much time do you need to vacate the premises? And my response was, I know this may be a tall ask, but since we're already incorporating the month of April to the repayment, possibly can have until the end of the month, which normally they only give you 7 days. He said, absolutely. He said, I love you guys. You guys are great tenants. I wish that things could have been different. I love having you guys there. And when that was said, the question my wife prompted me, she said, ask, in the event that we pay the money before the end of the month, can we just pay the next month and continue the lease? He said, I would love to, but I don't have an absolute certainty that in 3 months we won't be back here again. And I could have pushed, I could have sold it, but I wanted to live in space of transparency. Because he's right. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We didn't see ourselves in this space. Remember, 2021, I had an amazing year. 2022, I was set up to have make $50,000 to $100,000 in January. None of this would have mattered if that came through. So we don't know what's going to happen. And so he went back and forth with it, and the mediator said, well, we really I can't document this, but if you guys can figure something out, that's you figure it out amongst yourselves. And so he says, tell you what, if we go back to the 3 months, I'm willing to do the 3 months if you're able to repay the 3 months up front, which was another $10,500. So $25,000. So I go and Mo's like, let me do one real estate deal right now. I got some things in the car. We do one real estate deal right now. Boom, that $25,000 is covered. We're good. We're gravy. However, apparently God got a different plan. And here we are on the 27th day of April, with 3 remaining days in the month. Still seeking God's plan. Now, truth be told, we love where we are, but we're not attached to it. We're not opposed to leaving. We don't know where we're going to go from here, but we do trust the process because that's how we got here. That's how we got here. So again, I'm not telling you this for you to feel sorry for us. I'm only telling you this so you know the story, the journey of how we're getting to the magnanimous manifestation. When you look back and you say, "Whoa, wait a minute. Wow, I remember when he said this." And again, every morning I show up being present, willing and ready, rising at 5 a.m., preparing for the 6 a.m. stream, Monday through Friday. To give you the tools, the inspiration, the motivation, and tools of inspiration, motivation, and healing that you need to go forth and tackle your day, to seize your day, to be the best version of yourself in this day, to be an extension and reflection of the Creator today. So we don't know how this is going to work out. I would like, ideally, honestly, to be able to pay that money to him plus 1 month so that I can get my daughter just to the end of the school year and move on. Ideally, that's what I would like. It's about $19,000. However, we don't know where it's coming from. We know who our source is. We don't know which means it may come. So I stand in this space consistently. Keep in mind, please keep in mind, I don't want you to think it's been all dire straits because it hasn't. Remember I said I finished the book? In the midst of all this stuff is happening. I was in a writer's block before, but then the energy opened up when I let go. I said, God, I'm trusting you. Not because I'm lazy, not because I don't want to go out and do anything, not because I'm too good to take this opportunity. I'm trusting you because that's where you have me at. And so, finish the book. It's at the graphic designers right now. Again, it's called, I don't know why I want to keep saying Alicia. Unlocking your inner potential for boundless success. The power of magnanimous manifestation. It's a book with affirmations in it and a prayer for each chapter, as well as a workbook. Then it has a separate book with all the prayers plus a couple of additional ones to support you on each step of your journey. I've taken the word manifestation and broke it down into an acronym, which is the chapter of the book. 13 letters, 13 chapters. A workbook. I also took the affirmations out and put them into its own book so that if you want the affirmations, it's something that you can refer to help you in every stage that you're in. Whether it's being more mindful, whether it's being more attuned, aligned, whether it's in your notation process, and in a variety of ways that you can show up in that space. And the list goes on. prayers that support you in each every step of that. Affirmative prayers. Workbook full of activity and questions to help you to be able to grow and to release limiting ideologies and to learn how to move in that space and be the very best version of yourself. All that was done in the midst of this space. So you can't tell me God ain't good. You can't tell me that this is a situation that wasn't set up for me to harness the power that exists in it. Because look, I'm here to tell you, a diamond, the jewel that we all covet, it was created by pressure from a coal buried deep in the ground. It ain't something that you're just gonna find on the top. It was buried deep and went through some serious pressure in order to cultivate its magnificence. And that's what these times do, if we allow them to do. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, pressure bursts pipes or creates diamonds. I can't do depressing. I can't do no pipe bursting. So I choose to become a diamond. And yeah, I told you, I went through a space of depression. But I had to get quiet and get an understanding of what that was about. And I realized depression was simply a reflection of something being depressed within us. Meaning something that was within us that we were not allowing to come out of us. That we were not allowing to come to the forefront. And for me, that was God's plan. For who I am to be. For me, that was me honoring and being in alignment with my soul contract. The purpose that I am on this earth to fulfill. And it wasn't about getting money. It wasn't about selling a lot of houses. It wasn't about fixing people's credits. It wasn't about getting people financed. It wasn't about helping people build their businesses and their legacies. It had nothing to do with that. It was about being that extension and reflection of God. God said, I created you in my own image. I'm here to be that reflection. To serve in the capacity with my unique genius. Crazy story. I have an uncle. Love him to death. So you get too involved in people's lives because every client that I have, they come to me by way of the service that I'm providing, but they get so much more out of it because they get healing. They get the energy and essence of God put into it. They get refreshed. They get uplifted. They get inspired. They get motivated. They get expanded. They get enhanced. They never come out of it the same way. I understand that I have a purpose in people's lives, and it's not just to serve in the industry that they have met me in, the service that I've met me in. That's just the avenue, it's the vehicle to get them there so that they can have this relationship. I learned that a long time ago. And so I stand in that space authentically. Many of you see an animal that's wounded, you want to heal that animal. I see people who are wounded and I want to heal them. Why, you may ask? Because I was charged to do so. The master teacher Jesus said so himself. He said, when they asked the disciples, who is it that they see me as? And they talked about all the accolades and all the miracles and then raising people from the dead and the resurrections. And he talked about the feeding the homeless and with a couple loaves of bread and a few fish. turn the water into wine, and all these things. The healers, the people who touched him with the garment, they became whole. All these things. He said, yes, and all those things are true. He said, but yet, ye are here to do greater things. I take that personally. That is the charge that he's placed upon my heart. I am here to use that as a foundation to be greater, to be impactful. That is the benchmark. That is the blueprint. That tells me that it's possible. It's my birthright. I was born for such an occasion as this. And so for me to ignore that would put me in worse condition than I was already in. Because I wouldn't have been able to have that successful monetary period that I had. Because I received that by way of them coming to me to provide that service, and in exchange, yes, I was compensated from the service that I was providing to them, while gifting them with something more than they were expecting. So with that being the case, I stand here in the space of vulnerability, and I want to share with you something that really just empowered this conversation and inspired this conversation. I want to share this with you. It was a lesson that I did a few weeks ago. Course of Miracles. This one right here. It said, miracles are seen in light. Miracles are seen in light. And it reads, it is important to remember that miracles and visions necessarily go together. This needs repeating and frequently repeating. It is a central idea in your new thought system and the perception that it produces. Read that, hear that again. It is a central idea in your new thought system and the perception that it produces. The miracle is always there. Its presence is not caused by your vision. Its absence is not the result of your failure to see. It is only your awareness of miracles that is affected. You will see them in the light, and you will not see them in the dark. This reminded me of the need to be transparent. Because I believe that miracles are our entitlement. We're entitled to them. They're our birthright. But where we're going, everyone can't come. I liken it to the story of Moses when he led the Israelites out of Egypt from slavery. Not all of them were able to see the promised land, including Moses himself. Do you know why? Because they were holding on to some ideologies and some comforts that were not, that there was no room, that they could not bring with them to the promised land. Many of us are holding on to some ideologies, some philosophies, some comforts that have no place in where we're trying to go. And I need you to let go of them. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. Just know that if you don't, you're going to remain here in this space, in this energy in this energy sphere, in this chaos, and not have the ability to move into the space of tranquility, a space of peace, abundance, prosperity, when limitations do not exist, where there are no conditions on love. And I'm not talking about this ethereal space. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about this out-of-body experience. I'm not talking about this space where, I'm not talking about this space where, you have to leave this earth to have it. I'm talking about a space that is existing, that is formulated here, right now. It's an energy space. It's a paradigm shift. It's a dimension that we are moving to, that you're going to be on the outside looking in. If you don't let go of these old thoughts, these old philosophies, these old ways, old feelings, old perceptions that do not serve you, that are limited, that are fueled by your ego, ego, edging God out, that is creating a disconnect, not only from the Creator itself, but also from your fellow man, your fellow brothers and sisters. When you think that your religion is more important than your connectedness, when you think that your race, your creed, your gender, your financial, your socioeconomic standard, your sexual preference is more important than your fellow brother, sister. When you think that your religion, your ideologies, your belief systems have some kind of superiority over the love of God, you won't be able to come. You won't be able to have that experience. So I really implore you to please let it go. You remember the talent or the parable of the rich man? When the rich man came to Jesus and he admired everything that Jesus was and he wanted to be a part of the movement. And Jesus asked him, he said, sure. He said, give up everything that you own and come follow us. He said, everything that I own? That's not happening. Why must I do that? And then Jesus told him and said, it's easier for a camel to move through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. Do you have any idea why that is the case? Well, let me ask you this question. How much of that can you take in your casket? How much of that can you take in your casket? How much can you? So he didn't want him to just throw it all away. He just wanted him to detach from it, meaning not make it important. To make the movement, the mission more important than that. But it was never meant for us to be operating in the space of limitations. It was never meant for us to operate in the space of lack. It was never meant for us to operate in this space of disconnect. We chose that. Society created that. We bought into it. God promised us eternity, abundance. I had a conversation with a client of mine. I've been a client for 5 years, and they ain't bought no house yet. But anyways, they might be listening. Let me stop. I had a conversation with them, and I said, have you once in these 5 years asked God for the house that He's willed for you? Because every time we talk about this, you say you have this amount of money that you're working with, and this is what you want, and you don't want to go a dime over. So you've always extended limitations to me. Because of your limitations, this is the results. We haven't found anything. I said, but have you once asked, without even trying to say, well, God, you show me the house, but I only have this. I said, can you just let go and say, well, the Creator, if you show me this, where is it that you have me to be? What house would you have us to be in? And allow the process and allow the resources to be provided accordingly. You don't know where that's going to come from. Because the reality is, if more was available to you than what you thought you had, then you would allow yourself to have more, wouldn't you? If you didn't feel like it was going to be a financial burden to you to carry that more, then you would allow yourself to have more, wouldn't you? So, with that being the case, we have to ask the question, what is it that you have for us? God, I just desire what you have for me. I'm bolder than that. I say I want all of it. Even the stuff that I left back, I want that too. Everything that has my name on it, I desire it. Not because I'm better than anybody else. Not because I want to flaunt it and show it off and this, that, and the other. It got nothing to do with that. Because I'm a reflection and extension of you. It's my birthright. And because I can be an inspiration to someone else. Because if I got it, then I can show them that you too can have it. That if it's my experience, it can also be your experience.
We're not meant to struggle.
And we're not meant to struggle.
We're not meant to struggle.
And so with that being the case, that's where we're being moved to. We're being shifted from that space of lack to a space of abundance. To the reminder and the remembrance that there's more than enough for us all. Everybody doesn't desire the same. Everybody doesn't need the same. So we can shift. So, with that being said, I also want to put out there, the Transformation Center is moving, expanding, and we're moving, expanding, and and we're asking God for some things. And if you desire to be a blessing to us, we greatly appreciate it. You can support us. We're making a donation via Giveify or through Cash App directly at the bottom of the screen, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, which is my name, my legal name, Samuel Crumby Jr. In the denomination, we'll greatly appreciate it. However, you being here present is a great offering within itself. We appreciate you taking time to listen to us. Because this spiritual center, this transformation center, my God. And I'll tell you, we found a building already. They're waiting on us. They're waiting on us. And it's 175,000 square feet. I wasn't looking for that building. That building found me. And the things that exist in that building, oh my goodness. A space where everyone can come together as they are. No matter what you believe in, whether it's Western philosophy, whether it's African spirituality, Eastern philosophy, Western religions, what methodologies, Islam, metaphysics, whatever you believe in, there's a space for you at the Transformation Center. Because we believe that we have so much more in common than we do that separates us. And this is the place where we can come and celebrate our commonalities. And we're also focusing on alternative and holistic medicine and therapies. We're also going to provide some mindfulness activities, yogas, therapy, counseling, to support you with being your best and highest self. Sound healing, meditation, and so much more. We'll have workshops, expos, all kinds of tips that is enhancing us to be our best and highest selves. This space is so amazing. We're also going to launch our broadcast network, One Incredible Experience Broadcast Network, so that you have content that you can subscribe to that meets your needs, that is operating to support you with being your best self, giving you the insight and guidance on how to on ways to be inspired and motivated and healed. Our communities, our relationships, our world, our earth, our planet rather. All this is coming. But we're looking for a few good people to stand with us, whether financially or physically, extending your genius to helping us to move this process forward. Will you be one? Will you hear the clarion call and align with us? So, I think that's all I have for today. Is there anything you want to share, Mika?
I am definitely a person that loves to listen more than I talk, because in listening comes observation. It also gives room for feedback if need so. And in all transparency, my background has been some similar to Samion. In the work that I do, I am a healer as well. I heal people through transitions. I'm a transitioner. So what is that? That means I assist people to realign themselves back with their soul contract and to transition themselves from their old way of being to their new way of being. And that also includes midwifing of the spirit. Midwife means with woman or with family, with community. Also, I would say the divine's aid in life coming from the spiritual realm into earth. So I'm a midwife. I help bring babies in the world. And I also assist with grief counseling. So I also help those with transition that leave in this world. Being in these spaces of giving, which is in the work that we do, when you are operating in your divine purpose and who you are, that God has called you to be, as well as what you agreed to be before you came here, when you operate in that purpose, all will be aligned for you. As in the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all will be given to you. And the kingdom of heaven is within. So when you go within and align yourself with divine source, God, Allah, or whomever you call the most higher being, once you are in that purpose, then you know no lack. You know no struggle. You are a constant in abundance. So listening to Samion today to talk about his story, and as he said before, I have been friends with him for years. We met in 2002. And so we saw each other through both of our transitions and who we are today. And they always say you are a true reflection of who you're with. You're that person's mirror. So who I've always been is who Samion brought me back into being. As they say, the fire was always lit. It just needed a little bit more wind, right? It just needed a little bit more hit. And so for as long as I've known Samion, he's always been that fire that set ablaze and changing everyone's life. And when you are a giver and a healer, you have to also make time to heal yourself, to refill your cup, to give that same thing back to yourself. Because when you give and give and give, it makes you empty. And then you lack. And then you fall into depression. You feel like, is everything I'm doing in vain? Is everything I'm doing in vain? No, it's not. It is not. Because they always say, you tell one, you tell many. And sometimes all it needs is one to tell many. So I just want to encourage you all today that look beyond your circumstances. Because if you sit in it and you dwell in it, the sadder you become. But when you surrender outside of your expectations, then it won't leave no room for disappointment if things don't go a certain way that you expect them to be. And as the story goes, when a guy was out at sea and he asked God for help, God sent a helicopter. He said, I don't want that. God, I'm asking for help. God sent a boat. He did not get on the boat. He said, God, I'm looking for you. I'm asking for help. Why you not helping me? And you know what ended up happening? The guy sinks, right? So he sinks and he passes away. So he meets God. And he says, God, why you didn't help me? I asked for you. He said, hey, I sent you a helicopter. I sent you a boat. I sent you everything. You asked, I give to you. So sometimes it don't always come the way you expect it to. But when you open yourself up to receive and surrender, it will be given to you in a way that you would least expect. In the work that I do, there are a lot of people that can't pay me for my services. There are a lot of people that, it's not that they can't, they can. It's a matter of choice. And I have a family, we all have a family we have to take care of and things of that nature. And I know what it's like being in this space with Samion. And a lot of people ask me, well, how are you feeling? I said, well, we're in it together. And I'm holding his hand and I'm hugging him through it. I'm crying with him through it. We're gonna work this out. And I'm not leaving you. I'm gonna be here holding you through it. I'm gonna rock you through it. And we're gonna be good. And so I want you all to know that at the minute that you feel like you want to give up, that you feel like you can't go on and it's so unbearable, I want you to know that's when it all comes through, when you least expect it. And you might say at the last minute, but no, it's all about divine timing and being in alignment with divine timing. So I want to say this. Being in conflict with oneself is a dangerous space. Eventually, you will have to succumb to it and surrender to it. When those things do not happen, you will live a life of constant self-sabotage. I encourage you today to get out of your own way, to trust divine source, to trust your spiritual guides, your guardian angels, and your righteous ancestors, that they're always with you and that you're never alone. So we are challenging you, as we say to ourselves, to look beyond the circumstances, because at the end, there's victory.
And don't allow your circumstances and situations to determine your identity, for they're not. What do I mean by that? Your circumstances and situations are merely temporary experiences. Your identity is constant.
Yes.
It's constant. So take this time to get to know who you are beyond your circumstances and your situations. To know the truth of who you are. And stand in that space unapologetically. That's when you are victorious. That's when you have peace that surpasses all understanding. So as I share this message with you, as we share this message with you tonight, bid you that peace as we have it. And yeah, we may not have clarity of what's happening or what's going to happen in the next couple of days, but we trust the process. We allow it to work in our best and highest good. Here's the reason why we accept, we allow, accept, and embrace everything for our best and highest good. So, if there's no questions, we'll part ways at this moment. And I'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m., hopefully, on the morning manifestation session. Again, we give thanks to you. And if you'd like to make a donation, go to the Cash App. Just put in $ Samuel Crumby Jr. Or you can go to Giveify, make a donation by querying or looking up or searching One Transformation Center. However it works for you, we greatly appreciate it all. Until next time, continue to be great.